Hi boys and girls, my name is Miss Corcoran and I'm a kindergarten teacher at Ingalls School, and in this video today we're going to be learning about a special shape called a square. So I posted our objective is our goal today. At the end of this video we'll be able to identify a square and describe some of its attributes. So we'll be talking about what makes a square a square. To get our brains warmed up about talking about shapes, I want you to please draw any of the different shapes that you already know. So if you don't have a paper or pencil at home, you can just take your finger and trace it on your hand, different shapes. You could draw them on the table with your finger or even write them in the air with your finger. If you're watching this video at home with someone else, please make sure you're talking to them and telling them the name of the shape that you're drawing. You can pause the video to give yourself time to do this now. So let's take a look at the square sides together. These parts right here that I'm running my finger along are called the sides. The sides on a square are straight and they are all the same length. They are equal length. Means the length of this side is exactly the same as the length of this side and the length of this side and the length of this side. So all of the sides are straight and equal length. Next, I want to look at where the sides meet together. Those points are called the corners or the vertices. So they are the pointy parts where the sides meet each other. So let's look at the sides of a square together. Let's count how many sides a square has. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So great, a square has 4 sides, and we learned that the 4 sides are equal length, so that means they're the same length, and that the sides are all straight. They are not curvy or wavy. We also learned about the corners, so where the sides meet each other are called the corners or vertices, the pointy parts. So let's count up how many corners a square has. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we know that a square has 4 corners, and that again is where the pointy parts, where the sides meet each other. So a square has 4 equal sides that are straight, and it also has 4 corners. So those are some attributes of a square. And it can be in different sizes or positions. So I have some examples of what a square is here. Okay, so we can give it a thumbs up. This is what a square is. So it can look just like this one here. It could also be smaller in size, but as you see, the small purple square, it still has its 4 equal sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and its 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a square. These are both squares. They are just different sizes. Let's look at the green square here. I can see that there are 4 sides, and I'm noticing that they're all the same length, so they're 4 equal sides. It also has 4 corners, which means it is a square. So just because it's in a different position than these two here, doesn't mean it's not a square. If it has 4 equal sides and it has the 4 corners, then it is a square, just like this one too. So they can come in different sizes or positions. As long as they have 4 equal sides and 4 corners, then it is a square. And we can talk about what is it not. So what is not a square? This shape right here is not a square. The reason it's not a square is because it has 4 straight sides and it has 4 corners, but all of the sides are not the same length. They are not equal sides. These 2 sides here are much longer than the 2 sides over here. So that is not a square. This shape here, I see again 4 sides and I see 4 corners, but what I'm seeing on these sides is that they are curved. They are curvy sides, so that is not a square. At the bottom here, this shape here, you might recognize it, it only has 3 sides, so again, it is not a square. So if it has more or less than 4 sides, it is not a square, as well as this shape has much more than 4 sides to it. So what we're going to do next is a sorting activity. Okay, so far we have learned that a square has 4 equal sides. All of the sides are the exact same length, and that a square also has 4 corners. So now we're going to practice identifying some squares. If you see a square, I'm going to hold up some pictures. If you see a square, I want you to put a thumbs up if you think it is a square. If you see a different shape that is not a square, then you can please put your thumb down. And again, if you're watching this video with somebody, make sure you're telling them, I see a square or I do not see a square, and you can even explain to them why you think that. So I'm going to show these different images and we're going to decide, is it a square or is it not a square? So the first one, so you can show your thumb. So you should have had a thumb up, which means it is a square. It has 4 equal sides. They're all the same length, and it has 4 corners. So this shape is a square. So I'm going to sort it on my top-down web where it says squares. If it's not a square, I'm going to put it over here. Here's our next shape. So you should have had a thumbs down. This is not a square. It does not have 4 sides. It does not have straight sides. It is all curved. This is actually a circle. So this is not a square. A smiley face. All right, next up. You should have had a thumb up for this one. Even though it's a different size than this square and some other ones we've seen, it's still a square. We can count the sides and determine if they are equal in length, and count the corners too, and decide if it's a square. So this is a square. I'm going to sort this one. All right, next we have a piece of pizza. Look at this and decide what kind of shape is it. Is it a square or is it not a square? Should have a thumbs down. It is not a square. It does not have enough sides to be a square. There are only 3 sides. We have a picture of a window. Thumbs up for that. That is a square. As you can see in the window, there are 4 sides and they appear to all be the same length. So that is a square. Next one. All right, this one's tricky, but you should have had a thumb down. It is not a square. It is not a square because these 2 sides are much longer than these 2 sides, so they do not have 4 equal sides. So it is not a square. Next. Should all have a thumb down. The donut is not in the shape of a square. I do not see straight lines. It is curved, so it is not a square. This one is a tricky one too, but you should have had a thumb up because it is a square. If you counted the number of sides and corners, there should be 4 of each, and you can notice that each side length is about the same. They're all equal. Even though it's in a different position, it is still a square. So it's a square here. If you turn it every which way, it is still a square as long as it has the 4 equal sides and the 4 corners. There's a graham cracker. Should have had a thumb up. This is in the shape of a square. We'll go under the squares. And then last, an iPhone. Should have a thumb down. And hopefully you're sharing with somebody at home that the reason it is not a square is because these 2 side lengths are much longer than the 2 side lengths here. So even though it has 4 straight sides, it has 4 corners. The sides are not equal, so it is not a square. All right, great job identifying those squares. So next I have an assignment for you to try at home. And this is going to be like your exit ticket, just like we do at school at the end of our lessons. I would like you to please find 10 items in your home that are in the shape of a square or that have a square on them. So here are some items that I found when I went on this little scavenger hunt in my home that are in the shape of a square, like this napkin. I asked myself, does it have 4 sides? Yes. Are they equal in length? Yes. And does it have 4 corners? Yes. So I know that the napkin's in the shape of a square. Same thing with this pot holder. I checked the number of sides and corners, and it is 4 each. And I made sure that each side length is straight and the same length. Something else, when I opened my fridge, I noticed a slice of cheese was in the shape of a square, as well as the tiles on my counter in the kitchen are in the shape of a square and on the floor. Some items I found that are not in the shape of a square, my cutting board. These 2 side lengths here, they are straight, but they are not all equal in length. They are unequal sides. So that is not a square. And then a plate has curved lines, curved sides, so this is not a square as well. What I would like you to do after you find the 10 square items in your home, I would like you to write a list of the items you found. So on my list, I would write a slice of cheese, I would write a napkin, I would write a pot holder, and the tiles in my kitchen. And then I would love for you to take a picture or a video of the items you found in the list you created and share it on this page so that your teachers can see it. Please make sure to include your first name, but only your first name. You do not need to include your last name and who your teacher is, because I know that they're really missing you and would love to see the great work you're doing at home. But for now, we want you to continue your awesome learning at home and keep on going with the flow of things and being good helpers at home, and stay safe and healthy. Thank you.